Thank you
Thank you
so much for being here. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see so many of you. And if I may, I'm just curious, how many people in this room have read Carsick? Okay, good.
Good. Potential sales.
I read it myself just in the past week, and it's probably the most fun I've had reading a book this year.
Thank you.
This book is like watching a John Waters movie.
An old one.
Yeah. So tell me the premise.
The premise is really that I was just going to walk out of my front door in Baltimore and hitchhike to my apartment in San Francisco. But before I left, I decided everybody was saying, what's it going to be like? And they were really nervous about it. So I started to be excited and worry because the fantasy of hitchhiking is always dangerous and sexual. And so I thought, well, I'll think up the best things that could happen. So I wrote 15 fantasy rides of the best. And then the worst that can happen, which obviously when you're hitchhiking, is diarrhea and getting murdered. And after I did that, I did the real trip. I could have never thought up the fantasies before I did it, but then I did the real version, which was 21 rides in 9 days. And so I wrote the fictional parts before I left. I could have never written them after I had already done it, because the one thing I never imagined was the tedium of standing there for 10 hours and not getting a ride. But that's not as bad as getting murdered by a serial killer that only kills cult film directors and the cast of Rocky Horror. Right.
I was wondering if you came up with the scenarios while you were standing on the exit.
No, I didn't. But that's the way the movie could be, that I was imagining the fantasies while I was doing it for real. No, I did it all before I left. I wrote my death, I think, 2 days before I left, actually.
So we know one of the bad things that happens, and the worst, you've mentioned it, you're kidnapped by a serial killer who only kills.
Yeah, because everybody said, well, aren't you worried about getting murdered? And I said, well, to be honest, this is a terrible thing, but serial killers usually kill young women. They don't kill 66-year-old men. I'm not anybody's type. That's one thing I learned. I was looking for a gerontophiliac, believe me. That's the sexual attraction to old people. We call them wrinkle queens. But I didn't get one. Now, in the fantasy chapter, I have lots of sex, and I have bad sex in the bad parts. But in the real life, it only got close once when I almost had to spend the night in the woods, and this trucker said, I'll make you up a bunk. You can sleep with me. I thought, well, I would have for the book, but it didn't. I got a ride before it got dark.
So who do you have sex with in the good part of the book?
Well, in the good part, I have sex in a demolition derby in the car with the driver, and we win.
And you get picked up by some amazing people, including your favorite porn star.
Well, there is a chapter where I get picked up by my favorite porn star, Johnny Davenport, and then we get raped by an extraterrestrial human being, and then I have a magic anus that then sings a duet with Connie Francis.
And that's in the good part.
Yeah, and my assistant said, I can't tell the difference between the good and the bad as I type this.
So in the bad one, you get kidnapped by the guy who kills cult film directors. You get in the back of the truck. There's Quentin Tarantino's gruesomely mutilated body.
Yeah.
What are some of the other bad things that happen in the made-up bad part of it?
I get picked up by a gay radical that is poisoning products so straight people will have to pay for doing the electric slide. What else happens bad? I get picked up by a radical raw food person that makes me ill. On the good part, I get run away with a circus where I'm on a spinning wheel where they blindly throw hatchets at me. But that would be exciting. I mean, I don't really want that to happen, but for adventure, I would like that, certainly. I find a boyfriend who is a knife salesman. I had a knife salesman boyfriend once, but he was unsuccessful. This one is successful. Because when I met this guy, I said, what do you mean you're a door-to-door butcher knife salesman? He said, yes. I said, who would let you in the house? What housewife is home in the day? Who is it? I'm selling butcher knives. And he said, yeah, it didn't work out so well.